Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to show you how to crochet this coaster. For this pattern you're going to need category 4 yarn, a 3.75mm crochet hook or whatever hook size you have, and some scissors. Now that's all out of the way, you can grab your tea, a cozy blanket, and let's begin. The first thing we're going to do is make an adjustable loop. To make an adjustable loop you're going to get the end of your yarn in your two fingers and you're going to wrap the yarn around your fingers like so. Then you're going to grab the longer end of the yarn and wrap it like that. So you have this cross formation. Now you're going to grab your hook and you're going to place it through the first loop, the front loop, and you're going to grab the loop that's at the very end, your second loop, and pull it through. You have a loop on your hook and now you're going to make a chain. To make a chain, you're going to grab your yarn, turn your hook around, and pull through. That is how you make a chain. And now we're going to do 6 single crochets into this loop. To do a single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into the loop, grab yarn, pull up. You have 2 loops on your hook, grab yarn, and pull through both. That is how you make a single crochet, and we're going to make a total of 6. So I'm going to show you one more time. Insert your hook through the loop, grab yarn, pull up, you have 2 loops on your hook, grab yarn and pull through both. Now you have 2 single crochets. Now you're going to make a total of 6, so do 4 more. 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I have a total of 6 single crochets. And now what you want to do is you want to grab this small strand of yarn that's hanging out and you want to pull on it. Pulling on it should make the center loop tighter. And now you're going to slip stitch into your very first stitch. To find which stitch is your first stitch, you can count backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into your 6th stitch, you're going to insert your hook, grab yarn, pull through. And the same yarn that's on your hook already, you're going to pull it through your last loop. And now you're going to chain 1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do increases in each stitch. That means we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of the stitches all the way around. So for round 1 we had a total of 6. For round 2 we should have double that, so a total of 12. Insert your hook into the very first stitch and do a single crochet. Now insert your hook into the same stitch and do another single crochet. Now go to your next stitch and do 2 single crochets. 1 stitch, and into the same stitch, do another one. Continue doing 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around until you have a total of 12 stitches. I'm here at the end and you should have a total of 12. That last stitch that you see right there is what I like to call a pretend stitch. So that means that you're not going to work into it. That little loop right here, that is your chain, and that stitch right there is a pretend stitch, so we're not going to be working into either of those. Again, to find your first stitch, you can count backwards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Into your 12th stitch, you're going to insert your hook, grab yarn, pull through, and pull through to make a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to start off by doing 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to do an increase in our second stitch, so 2 stitches together. And that is a repeat for round 3. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch and an increase in the next stitch, all the way around, and once you get to the end, you should end off with an increase, and you should have a total of 18 stitches. I'm here at the end and I have a total of 18. Again, you should have ended off with an increased stitch, and now you can just count backwards, find your first stitch, and slip stitch. Now we're on to round 4. For round 4, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 regular single crochets. So there's 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And now we're going to do an increase. So a repeat for round 4 is to do 2 single crochets and then an increase all the way around. At the end, you should have a total of 24 stitches. I'm here at the end of round 4 and I'm going to slip stitch into my very first stitch and chain 1. Now we're on to round 5. To start off round 5, we're going to do 3 regular single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do an increase. So a repeat for round 5 is to do 3 single crochets and 1 increase all the way around. You should have a total of 30 stitches. I'm done with round 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I'm done with round 5 and I'm going to slip stitch into my very first stitch and chain 1. And now we're on to round 6. For round 6, we're going to start off by doing 4 regular single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do an increase. So a repeat for this round is to do 4 single crochets and then an increase all the way around. At the end, you should have a total of 36 stitches. I'm here at the end of round 6 and now I'm going to slip stitch into my very first stitch and chain 1. And now we're going to be working on our petal areas. To do that, we're going to do double crochets. So to do a double crochet, we're going to yarn over like so, insert your hook into the very first stitch, grab yarn, pull up, you have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn, pull through 2, and grab yarn, pull through 2. That's how you do a double crochet. And we're going to be placing 4 more double crochets into that same exact stitch. So at the end, we should have a total of 5. So once again, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, grab yarn, pull up, you have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn, pull through 2, and grab yarn, pull through 2. I'm going to show you one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, grab yarn, pull up, you have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn, pull through, grab yarn, pull through 2. Now you have a total of 3, and you're going to do 2 more, so at the end you should have a total of 5. There's 4, and there is the 5th double crochet. Now what you want to do is you want to find your next stitch, which is right there, and you're going to skip that one. And you're going to insert your hook into the stitch right after that. So this is your next stitch, and this is the stitch after that. So skip one stitch and insert it through the second stitch. And do a slip stitch. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do another group of 5 double crochets into our next stitch. So that is where we slip stitched, and that is our next stitch, and we're going to be working into our next stitch. So yarn over, that is where we slip stitched, and that is our next stitch. So insert it through that stitch, grab yarn, pull up, you have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn, pull through 2, grab yarn, pull through 2. And you're going to do 5 more, or 4 more, for a total of 5 into that same stitch. There's 2, excuse me, 3, 4, and 5. And now you're going to find your next stitch and skip it, and insert it through the stitch after that one. Insert your hook, and slip stitch. Now you're going to yarn over, find your next stitch, and insert your hook through it, and do 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to skip your next stitch and slip stitch into the one after that. And then you're going to do 5 double crochets into the stitch after that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to show you one more repeat, and then you're going to continuously do that all the way around. So find your next stitch, skip it, and slip stitch into the second stitch. Then find the stitch after your slip stitch and do 5 double crochets into that stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So repeat the pattern of skipping 1 stitch, slip stitching, and then doing 5 double crochets in the next stitch all the way around until you get to the very end, and I'll meet you when I'm done. I've just finished my repeat of my petals and I'm here at the end. I've already done my last 5 double crochets and I have 2 stitches left. And I'm going to slip stitch into my second stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch. That isn't technically our first stitch, but it would be a lot neater if we stitched into that one. Or you can stitch into that very first stitch that you see right there, which is what I'm going to do. So that little V shape right there, you're going to insert your hook through that, grab yarn, pull through, and pull through to slip stitch. And now you're going to chain 1, and you're going to grab your scissors, and you're going to cut a tiny piece of yarn. And then you're going to pull it through and tight. And that is how you make your coaster. These strands of yarn you can tuck in. You don't need a darning needle to do it, you can just use your hook, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So just go through each stitch and bring the yarn through. Bring your hook through the opposite side and bring the yarn through, and continuously do that until you think that your yarn is tucked in enough. And once you think it is, grab your scissors again and just snip it off at the very end. So right there. And you can do the same thing with the one in the middle. Make sure that it is tight, so the center loop is tight. And then you're just going to bring it through your stitches, back and forth, like so, until you think that it's stitched in enough. And then you're just going to snip off a tiny little piece of yarn. And that is how you make your coaster. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you want me to make next. I hope you guys are well and safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye!